Hello everyone, this is Joe Brewer here in Barichara doing regenerative projects. Today I'm in a different location. I'm in the Móncora Bioparque, which is a community reforestation project that's been going for about 12 years. And today what I want to show you is how we are building a water retention system for a space that will allow us to create a food forest and then begin kind of continuing the work downhill into an entire 1 hectare lot of land. And I want to start by showing you how the water is going to enter this system, and then I'm going to walk the system and show you what we're building. And it's in process, so you'll see it before it's complete. So first I want you to see that here on the road, the water comes from uphill, up a trail that goes pretty far up, and then the water will come in and go down into a canal and a tunnel that we've dug that comes over to this side of the wall. And you can see that the road is really low, so we actually had to dig a tunnel underneath and make this swale that is about 1.5 meters deep. Now what I want to do is just sort of walk the swale so you can see that it's pretty deep. It angles around. It's about 1.5 meters or about 4 feet, 4.5 feet deep. And here I'll show you back to the other side so you can see going back from 1.5 meters down in the road, we've made a swale that's on contour, which means it's level. So when the water enters, it just moves across it and spreads out. And what it's going to do is come into this section of land where there's a lot of grass and a couple of trees right now. And we've already cleared some of the grass up here. And what I want to show you is how the water that's going to, when it rains, will come down off the road, will be taken down this diversion channel and then continue until we get to a big pond that we're digging. And we're digging this pond by hand. We're using a mocho, which is a hand trowel. That's the Colombian name for a hand trowel. And a shovel and a pickaxe to do all of this work. And what you can see is when the water enters the system, and you can see it's not finished yet, the water is going to come in, and I'll show you where the water enters the system. See, the water comes, that's the contour swale that comes in and brings the water into the system where it starts to spread out. And when we're finished, this is going to be a pond about 1 meter or 3 feet deep for water. And it'll hold water at 3 feet deep. And then if there's a lot of rain, we'll create another exit channel for the water to move further down the system. And here you can see the whole pond a little further back that we're digging. And what's going to happen is this is going to provide, because we're building the hill, downhill, that the water is going to enter and fill up the pond. And then we'll make a little diversion channel to come out and start to spill down because it's a slightly downhill slope. And this is 1 hectare of land. It's one of the 6.5 hectares of the Bioparque. And our vision here is to have the water that leaves go into another contour swale and then start to build more systems for retaining water further downhill. Now, the important thing about this is that there are 2 key focus points for the beginning of this project. The first is a diversion channel and a holding pond for water. So we're starting with shaping the land with the way that the water flows. But then also, because this grass is actually an imported grass brought for livestock, it's really good for feeding cows and goats and horses. And it's extremely aggressive. It's not from South America, and it outcompetes and kills all of the native plants, which is why this land has been sitting without having anything done to it for almost 10 years. And look, there are no bushes or very few bushes and shrubs because the grass just outcompetes and strangles all of them. So what we're doing is we're going to pull all of this grass around this big water retention system. And as water enters, it's going to absorb into the ground and accelerate the growth of plants. And it's going to enable us to transform the soil, which you can see by looking at it. This soil is kind of red clay and dirt, and it's actually not very healthy. It's not very healthy yet. And we're going to make it healthier with the water moving into the land. And then we're going to start to grow a food forest. For those of you who don't know what a food forest is, it is the intentional selection of a complex variety of native plants that all interact and support each other to build the support structure of a forest but only with plants that are beneficial for human use. So this means plants that can be used for construction materials, plants that can be used for making fiber for clothing. For example, this is called a mochila, and it's made from a native agave plant that the locals call fique. And the indigenous Guane people who used to live in this territory would make this kind of a handbag to carry around. This is made from a native plant. So we'll be able to make clothing and construction materials, lots of medicinal plants, and also plants for growing food, like nuts and fruits and things like that, beans, squash, corn. And here's a plant called Totumo, that's the local name. And this is something the indigenous people also used, because the way the seed grows for this is it makes a big wooden gourd, just like you'd see with a gourd from like a dried out squash. And the indigenous people use this as water holders that actually put them in a little pouch and have jars of water made from these wooden bowls that naturally grow on this Totumo plant that's right over here on the edge of our system. So the reason I'm showing you all of this is that we're going to continue working on this and really develop this into a demonstration site, because the Bioparque is a community project. It's owned by an association called Asociación Aquileo Para, which has 40 members who are all members of the Barichara community. And they own the 6.5 hectares of land. So it's public community space. It's owned by a nonprofit organization in the community. So this is a demonstration site for a lot of things. And right now we're able to demonstrate how a water retention system can be built solely from capturing rainwater. And instead of the rainwater running down the road and causing erosion and carrying all of the soils and sediments into the Barichara River at the bottom of the town, instead it's going to enter this 1 hectare of land, and we're going to start to build more and more shape to the land to hold, absorb, and infiltrate the water, to raise the water table and restore the groundwater supply, and to provide water for all the plants that are here. And when there is a lot of rain and there's surface water sitting in this pond, we'll be able to take water with buckets, like this bucket right here that I'm using for pulling out dirt right now. We'll be able to use buckets like this to fill with water and to water the plants. So all of this is going to be built with natural patterns, natural cycles of the ecosystem that is here. And we're building it as a demonstration project for a food forest system. And I wanted to show you this because this is going to progress and change over time, and it's going to be really nice to come back and look at it now. A lot of this work was done with a group of volunteers that have joined us here in Barichara in the last few months, and we've been digging with, our shovels and our trowels and our pickaxes to loosen and move the dirt. So I wanted to demonstrate this to all of you so you could see what we're doing here in the Móncora Bioparque as, I think, a flagship project for the entire community, because Barichara is just down the hill. We're right on the edge of town and right above the town. So we're actually managing water before it enters a village of about 7,000 people. So this is the project as it is now. I hope you found this interesting, and if you have any questions, please pose them in the comment thread at the bottom. And just so you know, we're also going to be offering a permaculture school here at this site later this year with money that was raised through crowdfunding in the Barichara Regeneration Fund. And I'll include a link in the description so that if you're really inspired and you want to donate to community projects like this one, that you can do so by going to that link. So thank you very much. I hope you enjoyed this, and go out there yourself, get inspired, grab your own pickaxe, your own trowel or your own shovel, and start moving rainwater to grow your own forest.